Hello, Booktube. I'm Jordan. My friends and family call me JoJo. Welcome to Jordan Reads Lit, my little corner of the internet. My channel is technically not new. In fact, I've been posting videos on this YouTube channel for about 3 years. But 2024 is the year where I'm deciding to give the Booktube thing a good, honest try, to take part in this great community known as Booktube. So I found it fitting to take part in the rite of passage of making a Booktube Newbie video, which includes 10 questions that I'm supposed to answer to give you guys a better idea about what my Booktube channel is about. So let's just get to it. Number 1, why did I start this channel? That's easy. I have no one to talk to in my everyday life about reading. I read a lot, 100 books a year the last 2 years. But the people I talk to on a day-to-day basis, they're not readers. If they do read, they don't read fiction. If they do read fiction, they don't admit to it because there's some stigma about adults reading fiction because it's escapism and it's a waste of time, supposedly, even though it's not. So I thought joining Booktube, making a channel so I could talk to people and have meaningful discourse and conversations about what we were reading, there's a lot of value in that. And I think it would be so cool to turn this very introspective, lonesome hobby of reading into a community activity. So that's very appealing to me. Question number 2. What are some unique and fun things you bring to Booktube? This question seems a little pretentious to answer about oneself because we're all special in our own way, as generic as that sounds, but we all bring varied life experiences to Booktube, and it's going to influence how we view what we read. Like, for example, my day job, I'm a professional mixed martial artist, a professional athlete. I fight for the UFC. That's not what this channel is about. We're never really going to talk about that, but that's going to influence how I view what I read. In terms of content and what I aspire to bring to Booktube that may be considered unique is I want to read a lot of unheard of masterpieces. A lot of Booktube is a lot of the big channels, they read the same series, they have the same discourse, and that is very compelling. Like, if you've read those popular series, to be able to share those experiences, to build a community, to talk about your favorite characters, your favorite parts, your favorite books, that's a very beautiful thing, a very beautiful attribute of Booktube. But I feel like there's a lot of potential in reading books that very few people have read. I've read so many books the past year that I look it up on YouTube and no one's made a book review video about it. And I want to be one of those booktubers that will talk about books that nobody has heard of. Because I want to be able to spark conversation. I want to be able to have discourse about these hidden gems. Because not enough people are reading these books. And just because a book is not popular does not mean it is not amazing. So I want to kind of unearth some hidden gems and talk about it on Booktube. So that's what I want to kind of bring to the channel. Question number 3. What are you most excited about for this channel? I am excited to be a part of a community of readers. I'm excited to be able to talk about what I'm reading, to have meaningful discourse about the beautiful stories that we are enjoying together, because most people aren't readers nowadays. So I'm like consuming these stories and they're changing my life and they're giving me post-book depression and they're wrecking me. But I can't talk to people who don't read about that. They don't understand it. But if I could be a part of this community on Booktube, and I could share in these experiences of other people and we could talk about it, I feel like that just adds so much more to the reading experience. So that's what I'm most excited about. Finding great stories, reacting to them, and then talking to other people about how these books wreck them as well. Question number 4. Why do you love reading? That's easy. It reminds me of the quote, I'm probably going to butcher it, "The man who doesn't read lives one life. The man who reads lives many lives." When I read a book, when I follow a story, I get to experience another life, another world, another reality from the point of view of another character. And I get to feel empathy for this character. These books, these stories give you so many emotional reactions. They could move you to tears, they can make you laugh out loud. And it's just like living another life. So I love reading because it allows me to be transported to another timeline, another world, another universe. And it's a magical, like almost psychedelic experience. And also, I love the feeling of post-book depression after you finish a perfect story and you can never reread it. You can never experience those deep emotions ever again. And I've just been chasing those highs one after another. Every time I finish a great story, I feel the need to find the next great story. So I love reading because it's changed my life. It's opened my eyes to so many new realities and so many new ideas. And it's just an amazing experience. Question number 5. What book or series got you into reading? So I really didn't start reading fiction until I was an adult of 3 or 4 years ago. I read the Twilight series and the Percy Jackson series in middle school, and I loved it. But up until my adult years, I was not a very strong reader. All of my peers, because I went to a private school, were much stronger readers than me. So it took me months to read Percy Jackson and the Olympians and to read the Twilight series. While my friends and classmates were reading books so much faster, reading things way more advanced than me. So I actually was kind of put off of reading. So I didn't read for about 10, 15 years until I was about 22. I started reading fiction. But what sparked me reading was actually not a book. It was a video game series, the Mass Effect trilogy. I spent hundreds of hours in this video game series. And when I finished it, I had such a great post-series depression. I fell in love with these characters. There was interesting, meaningful dialogue. There was compelling plot, great big themes, big ideas. Life-changing ideas were encountered in this video game series. And then I finished it, and there was never another video game that I played that had as compelling of a story. So then I was like, what if I just read books? Books will have way more compelling stories. So then I started reading because I was trying to get the same big sad feeling I got at the end of Mass Effect at the end of a book. And I've encountered it so many times since then. So yeah, video games brought me to books, and now I don't play games anymore. So yeah, question number 6. What question would you ask your favorite booktubers? Ooh, that's a good one. What is one book you would recommend to somebody that would definitely change their life? What is one story that is so monumental, so masterful, that it'll change someone's view of everything? I would want to read those books. If you have a book that comes to mind when I ask that question, leave it in the comments below. But that's the question I would ask all booktubers. What is one book you'd recommend that you think would change somebody's life? That's something that's compelling to me. Those are the types of books I want to read. Question number 7. What challenges do you think starting a YouTube channel will be the hardest to overcome? I have to pick one challenge. I can think of several. Video editing. It is way harder and way more time consuming than I ever thought possible. Like, I've only been doing it consistently for about 5 months, and that is so hard. Another thing, work-life balance is already difficult enough in 2024. When you throw trying to manage a YouTube channel into the mix, it's just a Herculean task. I'm not sure how all you guys are doing it. I have a toddler, a newborn, a wife, a mortgage, a job. I'm having so much trouble figuring out how to get the YouTube thing like on a consistent schedule. So that's probably the hardest thing. The third challenge for the YouTube channel that I think I'm going to struggle with is I want to talk about books and series that other people don't talk about. But one of the worst feelings in the world is when you spend time reading a series, you have all these strong reactions to it, then you post a video about it, and no one's read it. It gets 24 views, and it's just you want to have these conversations, but other people have to be interested in it. So I guess it's almost like a feeling of rejection when you feel so strongly about a book series, but no one's ever given it time. So that's probably going to be one thing I'm personally going to struggle with. Question number 8. When did you start reading? I really didn't read until about 2018, so I was 22, and I was reading a lot of nonfiction first because I thought fiction was a waste of time. But then I met my wife, and she primarily read fiction, so I wanted to be able to relate to her about things that she was reading. So I started reading fiction in 2018, and I've never looked back. I now primarily read fiction. I read about 15 to 20 nonfiction books a year, but the other 80 is fiction. They're stories. They're not real. But I just feel like stories bring so much value to my life. But yeah, I started reading in 2018, and I want to read until I die. Question number 9. Where do you read? Wherever I can. Life is hectic, man. I have a toddler and a newborn, so it's very hard for me to sit down, get some quiet time, and to read, because then I feel like a horrible husband for not helping out. So I read when I'm holding the baby. I read when I'm sitting on the couch. I read in bed before we go to sleep. Luckily, I have an hour commute there and back, so I have plenty of time for audiobooks. But I mostly read on the weekends. I get several hundred pages done on Saturday and Sunday usually, and I read when I can throughout the week, but anytime I can. Any spare moment I can give to reading, I try to do that. Question number 10. What kind of books do I like to read? I like to read all types of fiction. Science fiction, fantasy, literary fiction, thrillers. I'm on a quest to find the perfect zombie book, and after I find the perfect zombie book this year, I want to find the perfect vampire book. Those are some personal goals I have. Some of the author focuses for 2024. I'm trying to read through a lot of Discworld and through Stephen King's bibliography, so those are two focuses for the next year or two. But also, I'm just trying to finish a lot of the series that I started in 2023. I'm currently reading 15 series. So if you follow my Booktube channel, you'll probably be getting a lot of series reviews. But yeah, I read a little bit of everything. I picked up my first manga this year and I loved it. I finished 2 manga series so far in 2024. So I read a little bit of everything, but primarily science fiction and fantasy. Well, there you have it. Those are the 10 questions. I hope you have a better idea about what this YouTube channel is about. I post vlogs on Monday, and I try to post 4 videos a week because the goal is to get 200 videos posted in 2024. We're a little behind schedule, but we're going to make it. But yeah, follow me along for my reading journey if you dare. I think we'll have a good time. Thank you guys for watching.